The mosquito repellent industry is worth over $11 billion. But there are 5 common plants, backed by published research, that can repel mosquitoes just as effectively in the right conditions. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what they are and how to use them. Before we get into the plants, I need to explain the mechanism. Because if you understand why this information stayed buried, you will never look at a hardware store mosquito display the same way again. DEET was developed in 1944 by the United States Army for use in jungle warfare. By 1957, it was available to the American public. It is a petroleum-derived synthetic compound. Here is its primary commercial advantage. It can be manufactured in a factory. It can be put in a bottle. It can be patented, branded, and sold at a margin that supports a global marketing budget. A plant growing in your backyard cannot do any of those things. When a study publishes results showing that a common garden plant outperforms DEET, there is no press release. There is no end cap display at Home Depot. There is no television commercial. The study gets cited, archived, and quietly forgotten because there is no financial incentive for anyone with a distribution network to act on it. The system does not suppress inconvenient research through conspiracy. It suppresses it through indifference. Through the simple economic fact that what cannot be owned cannot be sold, and what cannot be sold will not be marketed into your awareness. That is the system. These are the 5 plants it buried. And I want to warn you about something before we start. By plant 5, you are going to be angry in a very specific way. Not at a person, not at a company. At how simple the answer actually was the whole time. Plant number 1 is rosemary, and I know what you are thinking. Rosemary, the herb next to the pasta, the thing on roasted potatoes. Stay with me, because the history of this plant goes somewhere most people do not expect. In 105 BC, the Roman legions marching into North Africa carried something beyond weapons and rations. Attached to their field kits were dried bundles of aromatic herbs, rosemary among them, used specifically to smoke out sleeping quarters and repel the insects that transmitted the fevers that were killing soldiers faster than the enemy was. Roman military physicians documented this practice. They understood, without the language of organic chemistry, that burning certain plants created an environment insects would not enter. They were right. Here is the science behind what they observed. Rosemary produces a compound called 1,8-cineol, also known as eucalyptol, along with camphor and alpha-pinene. Think of these as the plant's natural force field. They are highly volatile oils that evaporate readily into the surrounding air. To a mosquito's sense of smell, that vapor is not just unpleasant, it is disorienting. It scrambles their ability to detect the carbon dioxide and lactic acid signals they use to find you. A study published in Phytotherapy Research confirmed that rosemary essential oil provides significant repellent activity against Aedes aegypti. That is the species that carries dengue, Zika, and yellow fever. Not a folk remedy. Documented repellency against a species responsible for hundreds of millions of infections per year. Here is how to use it, and the grill trick nobody talks about. Rosemary is a perennial in USDA zones 7 through 10. In colder climates, grow it in a large container and bring it indoors in winter. Plant it along pathways where you walk. Every time you brush against it, the oils release passively. But the most effective use most people have never tried: lay fresh rosemary branches directly on a hot grill before you cook. The heat vaporizes the oils immediately and disperses them across your entire outdoor space. The Romans fumigated their tents. You can fumigate your backyard every time you barbecue. Your food smells extraordinary. Your guests think you are a culinary genius. And there is not a mosquito within 20 feet. The Roman legions figured this out 2,000 years ago. The man at the hardware store selling you a $12 citronella candle did not tell you. Plant number 2 is lemon balm, Melissa officinalis, a member of the mint family. Modest, unassuming. Looks like a slightly disheveled houseplant, and it is quietly one of the most underutilized plants in the Western world. Because it sits at the intersection of two separate billion-dollar industries, threatening both of them simultaneously. Here is the first threat it poses. Lemon balm contains high concentrations of citronellal. That is the same core compound behind citronella candles, behind lemongrass oil, behind the active ingredient in multiple commercial mosquito repellents. A study published in the Journal of Vector Ecology found that lemon balm essential oil provided 97% repellency against Culex mosquitoes. That is the primary carrier of West Nile virus in the United States. 97%. From a plant you can grow in a pot on a balcony. But here is the second thing lemon balm does, and this is where it starts threatening a completely different industry. Lemon balm has been used since ancient Greece as a treatment for anxiety and sleep disorders. Modern clinical research has confirmed it. A study published in Psychosomatic Medicine found that lemon balm extract significantly reduced anxiety scores and improved sleep quality in adult subjects. Other trials have confirmed its effects on stress hormones, specifically cortisol. The global sleep aid market is worth $80 billion. The anti-anxiety supplement market adds tens of billions more. Lemon balm sits in both of those markets and also repels mosquitoes, and also costs $4 at a garden center, and grows aggressively without any care. A plant that reduces your anxiety, improves your sleep, and keeps mosquitoes away from your patio simultaneously. The supplement aisle has 8 different products targeting those first 2 outcomes. Not one of them mentions that the source plant also handles the third. Here is how to use it. Grow lemon balm in containers. It spreads like mint and will take over a garden bed without containment. Crush the leaves and rub them directly on exposed skin. The oils transfer immediately. Safe enough for children, gentle enough for sensitive skin. Or brew the fresh leaves into tea an hour before bed. 1 plant. Mosquito barrier outside, sleep support inside. That is not a marketing claim. That is just what the research shows. If you have made it this far and this is landing for you, hit the like button right now. Not because I need the numbers, because the only way YouTube shows this to people who need it is if the algorithm sees that the people watching it think it is worth sharing. 1 second. It makes a real difference. Plant number 3 is the one that makes me genuinely angry because of how completely its history was erased. Marigolds. The cheerful orange flowers at every garden center for $2.99 a flat, marketed entirely as decoration. Here is what the garden center sign does not say. The Aztec civilization used marigolds as a primary pest deterrent. Not symbolically, not aesthetically, functionally. They were planted in specific configurations around food crops and sleeping areas. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century and documented Aztec agricultural practice, they noted the deliberate placement of marigolds at crop boundaries. What they were observing was a sophisticated understanding of companion planting, using one plant's chemical output to protect another. The Aztecs did not know the word pyrethrum, but they understood its effects. Pyrethrum is the natural insecticidal compound produced in marigold flower heads. It is so potent and so effective against insect nervous systems that the entire modern synthetic pyrethroid pesticide category was directly derived from it. That is one of the most widely used classes of insecticide on Earth, found in products from raid to agricultural crop sprays. The synthetic version generates billions of dollars annually. The original source plant grows for $2.99 at Home Depot, flowers from late spring through the first frost, and asks almost nothing from you. The chemical industry did not suppress marigolds. They extracted what they needed from marigolds, synthesized a patentable version, and then allowed the source plant to be rebranded as a decoration. The knowledge transfer went one direction. You were left with pretty borders and a Raid can under the sink. Here is how to use them correctly. Dense borders, not scattered accents. A thin line of marigolds along a fence is decoration. A dense, continuous border of marigolds around the perimeter of your outdoor space is a chemical boundary. Plant them along fence lines, along the outer edge of any patio or seating area. in pots, flanking any entrance to your outdoor space. Deadhead them regularly. Removing spent flowers signals the plant to produce more blooms, which means more pyrethrum production, more color, and more protection from the same maintenance action. The Aztecs used this plant as pest control for a civilization of millions. You can use it to protect a backyard barbecue. Plant number 4 is the one I have to be careful about, because it is also the most dramatic example of how the erasure of botanical knowledge actually works. Pennyroyal, Mentha pelagium, a member of the mint family. For most of recorded Western history, pennyroyal was the primary botanical mosquito repellent in common use. It appears in Roman agricultural texts. It is referenced in Elizabethan herbal guides. American colonial households grew it deliberately near doorways and windows. The active compound is pulegone. Think of it as the plant's built-in bug alarm. In multiple published studies, it is one of the most effective natural insect repellents ever documented. A study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that pennyroyal oil was effective against multiple mosquito species at concentrations significantly lower than many commercial products. Effective, documented, historically universal. Here is the complication. Pennyroyal in concentrated oil form, not the plant, not a tea, but the distilled essential oil taken internally, is toxic to humans at high doses. In the 1990s, several cases of serious harm from intentional misuse of pennyroyal oil made the news. The FDA issued warnings. Those warnings were appropriate, specific, and focused on the concentrated oil used internally. But what happened next is the part that matters. The warning that was specific, do not ingest the concentrated essential oil, became in public consciousness a blanket erasure. Pennyroyal disappeared from garden centers. It disappeared from herb guides. It stopped being mentioned in any context, including the entirely safe, entirely documented context of growing it in your yard and letting it do what it has done for 2,000 years. The plant growing in your garden, brushed against by a passing arm, releasing pulegone into the air around your patio. That is not the same thing as drinking a bottle of concentrated essential oil. Your rosemary plant is not dangerous, because rosemary oil in very high doses can cause seizures. Your lavender plant is not dangerous, because lavender oil ingested in volume causes problems. The dose makes the poison. Every herbalist has known this since antiquity. Pennyroyal was a safe, effective, historically universal mosquito repellent that was effectively erased from public awareness because a warning about one specific misuse was allowed to contaminate every other use. And because no one with a financial interest had any reason to correct the record. Here is how to use it safely. Grow pennyroyal as a ground cover along pathways and around the perimeter of your outdoor space. It is low-growing, spreads readily, and releases pulegone whenever it is walked on or brushed against. Plant it where foot traffic will naturally activate it. Do not use the concentrated essential oil internally. That warning stands. But a living plant in your garden, doing what living plants do, that is what your great-grandmother would have called a sensible garden choice. The fact that you have never been told this is not an accident. It is the system working exactly as designed. Plant number 5. I saved this one for last because it is the most documented, the most striking, and the most direct indictment of everything I have described in this video. Catnip, nepetalactone, the plant you buy at the pet store. The thing in the crinkly bag that makes your cat lose its mind on the living room floor. In 2001, researchers at Iowa State University published a study in Science, one of the most prestigious peer-reviewed journals on Earth. Their finding? Nepetalactone, the essential oil in catnip, the same compound that triggers euphoria in cats, repels mosquitoes at 10 times the effectiveness of DEET at equivalent concentrations. 10 times. Not a folk remedy. Not a garden blogger's claim. Science Journal. Iowa State University. Peer-reviewed. Replicated. A follow-up study in 2010 identified the mechanism. Nepetalactone activates a specific irritant receptor in insects, essentially the pain detection pathway, without triggering the same receptor in humans. It is selectively, specifically hostile to insect biology in a way that a petroleum compound synthesized in 1944 cannot replicate. Your body knows the difference between food and chemistry. So does a mosquito. In 2011, researchers at Rutgers University confirmed the findings. Published again, cited, archived, and then the pet store kept selling it in crinkly bags next to the feather wands. Because there is no version of this research that generates a press release from a company with an $11 billion market to protect. There is no financial mechanism by which grow a $4 plant and repel mosquitoes 10 times better than our product becomes a marketing campaign. So it did not. You watched a decade of DEET commercials instead. Here is how to use it. Containers. Catnip spreads aggressively. Manage it in large pots positioned around your seating area. Crush fresh leaves and rub directly on exposed skin. Immediate personal protection that smells like herbs and takes 30 seconds to apply. Dry the branches and burn them in a fire pit during evening gatherings. The heat vaporizes nepetalactone and disperses it across a wide radius. This is the same mechanism the Roman legions used with rosemary 2,000 years ago. Heat-activated volatile oils creating an airborne barrier. One established plant, one container on your patio. Permanent, self-seeding, free. That eliminates what the $11 billion industry sells you every summer. 5 plants. 5 documented cases of botanical knowledge that was either never amplified, quietly suppressed, or actively rebranded away from its most useful function. None of this required a conspiracy. No executives plotted in a boardroom to keep catnip out of the mosquito repellent aisle. The mechanism is simpler and more durable than that. Research follows funding. Funding follows patents. Patents require control. These plants cannot be controlled. They self-seed. They spread. They become wild. They become free. What cannot be owned cannot be sold. What cannot be sold cannot be marketed. What cannot be marketed does not enter your awareness. That is the entire explanation. That is why you spent money on DEET last summer. That is why your parents spent money on DEET. That is why the hardware store display looks the same in 2025 as it did in 1975. Your backyard already has room for 5 containers. That is all it takes to opt out entirely. If this changed how you think about what is growing outside your door, subscribe. Every week on this channel, we cover the plants that the seed industry, the supplement industry, and the agrochemical industry never wanted you to find. The research is real, the history is documented, and you deserve to know what is in it. Next week's video covers a plant that may surprise you more than anything in this one. Subscribe so you do not miss it.